Hello, hello, Karen Del Maestro here. We are on day 8 already. Can you believe it? Of our 30 days of energy boosting tips, especially for breast cancer survivors. And today we're talking about something that is controversial of sorts. Not really, but you tend to fall into either one of two camps. And I'm going to ask you, let me know, are you a shoes on in the house camp or a shoes off in the house camp? No judgment here, always a judgment-free zone. But the question is one of those helping your energy levels versus hindering it? And that's what we're going to be diving into today. So welcome. I'm your host of this 30-day adventure. I'm Karen Del Maestro, self-care coach, breast cancer, and BRCA2 thriver. And I am here to help you over this October, a month that is often quite challenging. And so I wanted to kind of refocus it for us survivors this month. And so we're not just focusing on pink washing and we're not focusing on that. We're focusing on ourselves. We're focusing on what we can do to boost our energy levels, so that we can make plans with friends again and know that we're going to be able to show up, so that we can look at something that needs doing in the house and just hop up and do it without saying, I just can't. I just can't. And so that we're also thinking about and not constantly saying to ourselves, I can't add one more thing, right? Have you thought about that? So all of these tips over these 30 days are not about adding things to your life. In fact, many of them are about lightening that load. Because guess what? When the load that we're carrying is lighter, does it not make sense that we would have more energy? Right. That's why you may look at these things and say, but Karen, how does that relate? Trust me, every single one of these tips I created to boost your energy levels, to give you back the get up and go that has certainly got up and gone, right? So let's talk about today's tip. Today's going to be short and sweet. It's pretty simple here. Today we're talking about whether we keep our shoes on in the house or take our shoes off in the house. Now, you may be relating this to just dirt coming into the house, right? You may not have thought of it from an energy perspective, but that's why you got me. I'm going to bring in these other crazy ways of looking at things, introducing you to perspectives and opinions and views that you just may not have been exposed to before. That's not your fault. It's all of us, right? We can only know what we've been exposed to. So here's what I want you to think about, right? We're not just talking about feces on the bottom of our shoes. It's not just it. That's like the obvious one, right? But what you may not realize that we're also tracking into the house on the bottom of our shoes are pesticides. Now, we already spoke about pesticides when we were talking about organic versus conventional produce earlier in the series, right? So pesticides, bacteria, right? From anything that we're stepping on. Think of parking lots that you walk through, supermarkets that you walk through, stores that you walk through. We don't know what anybody else has had on their feet, and our shoes are touching that. Viruses, right? Motor oil. It's pretty toxic and not something we want to be tracking around in our home, right? Mold, all over the place. We just don't always see it, right? We're not looking on the floor for mold. And also heavy metals, all of which are extremely toxic to our beautiful bodies. So this toxicity causes chronic fatigue in our bodies. When our body is not recognizing something, in other words, it's toxic to our body, it fights to figure out what it is, right? It's like, what is this? What do I do with this? Does it go through my normal channel of, processing and stuff? Do I, what do I do with it? So, yesterday we were talking about decision fatigue. So if our body is dealing with this decision fatigue, what do I do with this? That is energy that it is using and utilizing to figure out what this stuff is. Kind of makes sense, right? When we look at it that way. And so what we want to do is ease that burden for ourselves and our bodies. We want to make it pretty simple. We want to make it easy. I don't know about you, but one of my favorite words, and I set an intention every year. I set one word that I follow every year, and that is my intention for the year. And my word actually for the past 2 years has been simplicity. It's always right in front of me so that I'm looking at it on a daily basis, so that every decision I make is about being simple. And part of the reason for that is to stop this fatigue level, right? I don't want complicated. I don't want to feel overwhelmed. I don't want to feel exhausted. Do you? I'm going to guess probably not. But you just maybe haven't learned yet how to do things differently. I'm here to help you do that. Okay? Throughout this series and beyond, right? Because it doesn't have to be that way. So when I am looking for simple, a tip like not wearing your shoes in the house, it couldn't get much easier than that, right? But I want you to understand why. I always want you to understand why I'm suggesting certain things so that you can make the decision for yourself. I'm not here to make those decisions for you. And I'm not here to judge the decisions you may choose to make. I'm just here as a source of information and support and new perspectives to help you see things in a different way. And so that is the case with wearing shoes in the house, right? If we're bringing these toxins into the house, and then all of these substances build up in the dust, right? That's what happens. These substances all get caught up in the dust. The pesticides, the bacteria, the viruses, the motor oil, the mold, and the heavy metals. They get caught up in the dust around our homes. And then what do? We touch things, right? All over the house. And even more so if we have babies or small children or pets, they are being exposed to these things even more, right? Even more. And then, especially with children, they're touching things, they're sticking their hands in their mouth, right? Pets are grooming themselves. We are then touching our pets. So if we think about it, there's just this cycle. And to be able to eliminate that so easily by just taking our shoes off at the door versus tracking around the house, why would we not? Why would we not? So think about that as you're coming in, right? Taking your shoes off at the door is a free and super easy way to dial down those toxins that you're unintentionally tracking around the house. Hey, Megan, thank you, my love. I appreciate that. Hope you're taking your shoes off at the door now. Right? We don't realize what we're tracking through the house and how it impacts our overall health, but our energy levels. Our energy levels. And whether you are a breast cancer survivor or not, don't we all want more energy? Right, right. And for those of you that can't see who are watching the replay or watching on a different platform, my good friend Megan's on with me this morning. So thanks for joining. And Megan is now committing to taking her shoes off at the door because she's now realizing the value in this. And so I hope you're following along with Megan. It's quick, it's easy, it's free. And it makes a difference. It's kind of a no-brainer, right? Kind of a no-brainer. And here's just an interesting little fact on this, right? The US is one of the few countries in the world that do not take their shoes off at the door. Most other cultures, this is built into their culture. They just take shoes off at the door naturally. Just an interesting little aha. Like what? Okay. I love those little snippets that are super interesting and super different. And it makes you just go, why? Right? So let's just recap, right? Toxins overall, no matter the form, are going to cause fatigue within our body because our body doesn't recognize it. And so therefore it takes more energy to figure it out. That's the non-sciencey version. And honestly, it's really all that we need to know. I can go very deep into the science of it, but we don't need to, right? Simplicity, remember? That's all we need to know. So if our body is working hard to recognize something that it's not recognizing as being natural or is working for our body, something can be natural, organic, anything, but if it's not working for our body is having to work harder to recognize it and to know what to do with it, how to absorb it or assimilate it or push it through and push it out. So it's important that we reduce that toxic load for our body so that our body isn't having to work as hard. Makes sense, right? So that's it for today, guys. Super quick, super easy. Don't forget to grab your calendar to follow along. Today, as I'm recording this, is Friday, which means that my lives do not happen over the weekends. That is my gift to myself. However, we said 30 days of energy boosting tips, right? So that means if you want the videos over the weekend, grab the calendar and you'll get the videos emailed directly to your inbox so that you can keep up with every day throughout the month. And they will be available to those people that have got that calendar and who are following along, and they will get all of those videos. So I'll leave the link. Make sure that you register to get that calendar and you'll get all of the 30 days. Otherwise, I will be back here live on Monday, 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time, in the Healthy Living After Breast Cancer Facebook community, and also on the Healthy Living Before and After Breast Cancer Facebook page. I'm Karen Del Maestro. Thank you for watching. You can find me over at karendelmaestro.com and in the Healthy Living After Breast Cancer Facebook community. Have a wonderful day, and don't forget to take your shoes off. Bye for now.